From Hollywood, time once again for Money TV. I'm Don Baillargeon. Thanks for joining us. Money TV is the program all about money and what makes it happen. Well, about 3 years ago, I posed a question on this program. Who do you think we should trust in the Middle East, Israel or Iran? Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on television that Israeli spies had smuggled a secret nuclear weapons archive out of Iran. For those of you who are keeping score, that's a bad thing. But on the day that President Trump announced he was pulling the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal, CNN referred to the Israeli evidence as flawed and then ran a story from the Iranian president saying the U.S. had not lived up to its commitments in the deal. I guess they were expecting another secret cargo plane loaded with pallets containing billions in cash. Now, who do you think we should trust in the Middle East, Israel or Iran? CNN even went so far as to release a poll which supposedly found that 63% of Americans feel it's wrong for the U.S. to pull out of the deal, but also found that 62% feel Iran has violated the agreement. Now, consider how stupid that makes us look. Do we really support staying in a deal that we think the other side has violated? Nobody called me for that poll. Did anybody call you? I remember when the Iran deal was negotiated, our side was so desperate to announce a deal, any deal, that we actually gave up conventional weapons and ballistic missile embargoes that had been in place. The Iran nuclear deal was called the worst deal in U.S. history. Furthermore, the deal was never ratified by Congress. Who do you think we should trust in the Middle East, Iran or Israel? Making a deal with a regime whose leaders shout death to America, well, that's not going to end well. Pulling out of the deal was the right thing to do. It sends a message to Iran, it sends a message to the Middle East, and it also sends a message to North Korea at the perfect time. Now, here's something that's always a perfect time. It's our toll-free number, good from anywhere in the world you're watching the television program. 888-259-4449 to get free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. Again, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net, and please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our first guest this week's joining us on the phone. They're on location at a big marijuana conference in New Orleans. Greg Lambrecht. Greg is the CEO of Single Point Incorporated, SING. Hey, Greg, how's that conference going for you?
Well, it's going great. One of the companies that we funded about 2 years ago, they've got a booth here at Baillargeon, and boy, they're really doing well. We're really happy with that partnership, and we're also here meeting with two other companies to talk about deal flow and you know, doing an acquisition. So that's why we came down here, and Single Point has quite a reputation out there as a company that can you know, acquire closed deals.
Well, you mentioned that you were filing Form 10, I think sometime this week. It's going to open up the door for you as far as really good types of financing, which enables you to make these acquisitions more quickly, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're, you know, the timing of filing the Form 10 and talking to, you know, investment bankers and also getting LOIs is all happening at the same time. So within the next 30, 60 days, we'll be full supporting and start announcing some of these closed acquisitions that some of them have quite considerable revenue.
Well, now, Greg, another thing you mentioned on the program last week is you're pretty much completed with the editing of the Greg Harrington TV campaign. How's that coming along? Well,
yeah, thanks for asking. We had the production people in last week, and they showed us what they've done, and we approved it. We sent it to Kevin Harrington. He loved it. So, yeah, we're wrapping that up. I know shareholders have been asking about that. It's taken longer than we would like. You know, we're moving forward. It's all done, and now we're just going to be buying TV time on Fox and CNN, different places where it's going to go out.
Well, another thing I wanted to make mention of the fact that these acquisitions you have lined up, these LOIs, so to speak, what kind of potential annual revenues do they represent for the company?
Well, you know, Single Point is going to do between 2 and 3 million without any acquisitions this year, so that's gone way up. But the three that we're looking at, and I'm sure we're going to close all three, at least 2 out of the 3, we're looking at about 15 million. So hopefully in 2018, you know, if I could predict, you know, Single Point should do somewhere around 15, 20 million in revenue, which has been our plan the whole whole time is to get the public company up and running first and really moving along, and then we would go acquire buy revenues, and that's exactly what we're doing, and it's working out perfect.
Well, 2017 was a very active acquisition year for you, so you're seeing the same thing happen in 2018, right?
Yeah, really, the difference is the companies are just going to be bigger. We've successfully proven to our shareholders and to the public that we can go out and acquire companies. Now that we've shown that, we're just going to go for larger numbers.
So, as we mentioned, you're in New Orleans at the MJ Cannabis Conference. What kind of companies are you talking to about potential acquisitions there?
Yeah, well, again, we're staying away from the plant. So one of the companies is a soil company, and they're out of Holland, and some of the best soil you can find for these cultivators and these growers. Another company is of course Convexion, who has fills the vials. So any sort of what we like to say pick and shovel company that supplies the cannabis industry, we're looking at acquiring them. We like to see them when they have a lot of growth. So we're looking for companies that maybe need some funding to beef up their sales or whatever. So that's kind of our criteria.
Once again, Single Point Incorporated, SING. Greg Lambrecht joining us from the Marijuana Conference in New Orleans. Greg, thanks so much.
Thank you, and go sing.
And joining us now on the phone is Dr. John Whitney. John is the CEO of a company called Itronics Incorporated. ITRO is the stock symbol. John, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, we first started talking to you again last week, and it's such an exciting company. And we were going to have you in the studio for an interview, but you told us that KOLO-TV News 8 in Reno did a wonderful piece about your company recently. We thought we'd take a look at that. Tell us what they did for you.
They did a synopsis, photographic coverage of the steps of the business that Itronics is operating. So it's a nice visual presentation of what Itronics is doing.
Well, we want to thank KOLO-TV News for letting us re-air this segment. Let's take a look at that right now.
In tonight's Made in Nevada report, we're taking a closer look at Itronics. The Reno company takes old circuit boards like this one, they're in your computer, and they take out usable precious metals. The process is so efficient and so detailed, no one else in the world knows how to pull this off. Itronics founder Dr. John Whitney developed this technique, and it all started with a problem that was killing fish in the Truckee River. Developing pictures produces photographic waste. The most toxic substance is liquid silver. Before 1986, it was dumped into the Truckee River. Dr. John Whitney's process pulls almost all of the silver from the photographic liquid, neutralizing its harmful effect on fish and the environment.
It's a completely new process, never been done before. We just figured out how to get the metal to be completely separated.
Photographic waste comes from places like Gordon's Photo Service near Trader Joe's in Reno. At one time, it was stored indefinitely in the ground or diluted and released back into the environment. But now, Gordon's Photography stores all of the waste in large drums like this one. Itronics transports it to a facility in North Reno where the silver is removed. It's added to a stew of ground up circuit boards and heated to at least 2100 degrees for up to 20 hours. The silver acts as a sponge, pulling gold, palladium, copper, and other precious metals from the molten brew. It's poured into a mold where it cools. The precious metals sink to the bottom of the mold. It's turned upside down. You get this bullion puck where the precious metals are concentrated. 4 of these are remelted and refined even more to produce one shipping bar. This one is almost all silver. It will be sold back into the market and could one day be turned into jewelry. This process brings in less than 10% of the company's earnings. The bulk of the company's economic power actually comes from what it does with the photographic waste after the toxic liquid silver is removed. Another secret process Dr. Whitney developed transforms it into fertilizer.
The results are beyond miracle grow. You'll get 2 to 3 times the volume of tomatoes and other vegetables.
It's shipped more than 200 miles southwest to this fertilizer dealer in Vernalis, California. Tom Lopez is the branch manager for crop production services.
It's taken what is basically a waste product and creating a resource.
Itronix fertilizer is called Golden Grow. It's mixed with other fertilizers here to give California's almond, wine grapes, and walnut farmers the exact nutrients their fields need.
They get good results. I mean, that's bottom line. That's all they want. They want results.
Dr. Whitney says China's government and other international businesses have tried to recreate his results, but have failed. He says he will share the process, but only with the right partner who comes along. Until then, it will remain exclusively where we live. Itronix partners with another company called New to You Computers. Thousands of people and businesses donate their old computers to the company. If a computer can't be refurbished, it's dismantled by one of 40 disabled workers like Alan Wilson.
I was taking things apart, and I just did the fans, get the fans out, and then I could do the motherboards out.
In the last 18 years, New to You Computers has processed 1.5 million pounds of e-waste. But for the last year, Itronix has picked up bins of circuit boards to recover the precious metals for sale. You can donate your old computer by dropping it off at the company located at 50 Gregg Street, Suite 103 in Reno. And you can buy some of Dr. John Whitney's fertilizer yourself. Comes in a little bottle like this one right here. Just go to Amazon.com and type in Golden Grow, but you have to spell it like it is right there on your screen. It is gold, G-O-L-D apostrophe N space G-R-O.
Well, John, that's really fantastic. You must be pretty proud of that piece.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Now, recently the company announced that you've acquired a big chunk of land for expansion. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's 48 acres of land, 54,000 square foot of building under roof, and it's got the power and the, electricity, natural gas, and it's even got silos, product silos, wow, and a rail siding. So it's a platform for us to expand our technology.
Now, I think the facility you have in Reno right now is like 35,000 square feet, so this is a big jump up.
Yeah, we've got 3.5 acres and 35,000 square foot of building, so this is a giant step. But it gives us the space we need for the technologies we're developing in order to pilot them at a decent scale and then to convert them into commercial operations.
Once again, the company is Itronix Incorporated, ITRO is a stock symbol. John, thanks for sharing that piece with us, and thanks for the interview.
You're most welcome.
Take care.
Thanks. Yeah.
Does this sound familiar? Turned down for a mortgage? Credit card interest over 20%? Didn't get the job you wanted? The problem is your credit score. Unsure what your credit score is? Call the Advocacy Network, 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl. He can help you regain your financial independence. Change your life today. 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl.
Have you heard the news? There's only one flat-fee news distribution network on the market. It's called AccessWire, and it's exclusively from Issuer Direct. Any day, anytime, the AccessWire News Network can deliver your press release to more than 1,500 media outlets in 98 countries. AccessWire also delivers real-time engagement analytics. You will learn who read and shared your press release and more. Best news of all, getting started is easy. Visit accesswire.com and extend your company's news reach today.
We are back. Thanks for staying with us. And joined in studio now by Tom Djokovic. Tom's the CEO of XNX Incorporated. XSNX is their stock symbol. Tom, great to have you in studio.
Don, it's a lot of fun to be back.
Now, of course, you're in the solar business. Specifically, you're involved in commercial solar installations for the most part. You're really specializing in solar canopies, which I find really interesting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Don. Well, solar canopies, carports. Most people see them as carports. Mm-hmm. A lot of schools are getting them. But we also do commercial truck ports, storage ports, just about anything you think of. And it's just a great use of open space. You really turn, a parking spot into a cash flow item. You monetize the value of that through producing energy.
Well, one of the roadblocks in commercial solar I knew was if, for example, you've got a building, may not have enough roof space for a solar installation to achieve all the electrical requirements that they need, or maybe he had a roof put on 10 years ago, doesn't want to put solar panels on top of that new roof.
We run into that all the time. That's really what drives most of the phone calls. I mean, when we leave here, I'm driving over here in LA to a golf course community where obviously a center rather where there's really no roof space whatsoever, but they got lots of open ground. So it's a great alternative, you know, and same thing, I'm going to visit a hotel later today, same situation where they probably don't have a lot of roof area, but they've got parking area. So it's a great way to put those spaces to use and, you know, get solar energy to start lowering your operating costs.
I also found what you folks are doing is fascinating. You're getting into energy storage, solar storage, which I think is just remarkable.
Oh, absolutely, Don. It's a great pairing with solar because obviously solar doesn't work at night. So if you size the systems correctly, you know, the batteries can be charged during the day, and then in the early morning hours and the evening hours when the business is maybe still operating, has a lot of power requirements, but the solar is kind of waning or hasn't been producing as much power yet, those batteries step in and start to deliver power when they normally be very, very expensive from the utility. So we're providing a lot of proposals where we pair the solar, the energy storage, and on top of that what's called demand control, where we manage through priority management, turning things on and off, non-critical AC systems, forklift chargers. You know, one company's got 10 forklift chargers, and they all turn on at the same time. When the guys punch out to go home, they plug them all in. Well, they got all night to charge them, so we manage how those get charged so they're not simultaneously using a lot of energy and really running up their bill.
So you're helping create energy from solar, you're helping store energy for nighttime use, and helping manage the electrical use at the same time. That is, I didn't know about that last one. That's great.
Absolutely, Don. And the three of them is like a grand slam in terms of the economic return for most customers.
Well, let's talk about that, because we know one thing is constant, the fact that electrical power from the utilities is just going to continue to get more expensive.
Yes.
And solar, once the unit is installed, once the system is paid for, it's free.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's very little maintenance. You know, it's about averages anywhere from $1 to $2 per solar module to wash, minimum once per year, depending on the location. And that's really about it. Everything else runs very, very reliably, and yes, once it's paid off. And the average payback period, I mean, the last several proposals we provided to commercial enterprises had paybacks in the near 3-year period. I mean, really? 3.2, 3.4 year paybacks. Wow. That's assuming they can monetize the tax benefits. But I mean, that's pretty substantial. You know, that really is an economic incentive for customers. And depending on the kind of company you're running, either it reduces your operating costs and the cost of delivering, you know, producing your goods, or maybe you're running you know, a multi-tenant office building, and it reduces your, it increases your net operating income, which increases the value of your property, you know, when you times it by your cap rate. So, you know, we spend a lot of time creating and detailing and discussing the financial benefits with customers, not just the solar aspect. And we, you know, we can prove on paper exactly how it's going to work for them.
Now, are you still able to, in many cases, to show them that the cost of paying for the system is about equal to or less than what they're paying for electricity?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, on average, the 25-year amortized cost per watt on most systems is down around 2 cents per kilowatt hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I spoke with a water district yesterday who buys extensive amounts of bulk, I mean, really a lot of electricity. Their cost is around 9 cents a kilowatt hour, okay?
Wow.
All right, which is dirt cheap compared to what a lot of people pay for for that kind of bulk power. And you know, they could be in there at 2 cents. They could pass those savings on to the customers, you know, their water customers.
You know, it's interesting, and I'm gonna probably hurt your feelings here, but we've been talking to your company for about 16 or 17 years, which means we started this when we were about 15 or 20 years old, right?
That's right. I know I was 15, yes.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen a lot of changes in the solar industry during that period of time. What do you see in the horizon going forward?
Well, I think the biggest thing I see going forward, Don, is the marrying of all three of these technologies I was just discussing with you, because that really you know, the ability to work all three of those technologies together gives people the ability to not just offset, but completely manage their energy. and the cost of their energy. And that's what's really important on a 24-hour basis, not just when the sun's shining. And that's really one of the biggest things. Obviously, adoption rates, we're starting to see those go up, and because people are starting to realize, that there's significant cost savings there. So that's something that's big on the horizon. We're getting more calls this year than we did last year from commercial entities, and I think that's indicative of the fact that I think it's starting to become, it's not considered a fringe idea anymore. I think a lot of companies are starting to think, hey, this is part of an actual financial plan I should integrate into my business.
XSNX is the stock symbol. XNX is the name of the company. Tom, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Don.
And with us in studio now is Mr. John Hollister. John is the CEO of a company called Imaging 3 Incorporated. IGNG is their stock symbol. John, always a pleasure.
Hey, Don. Thank you for having us.
Now, we've been talking to you for a little while. It's been a fascinating series of interviews. I want to talk a little bit this week about the Dominion device, which is really your imaging device that you touched on last week. There's been a lot of progress made with that. Why don't you give us an update?
Yeah, so thanks for asking the question. So the Dominion is our platform. The Dominion is this X-ray machine that actually does, in 1 second, real-time 3D imaging with the potential for actually slicing and dicing like a CT does. And in fact, you can see images like that on our website right now. That prototype does that work today. I've run it many times. In fact, I'll be doing a demonstration later today with the device for a group. What we hope to be able to provide to the marketplace is a totally portable 150-pound version that could go anywhere. It could be in a clinic, it could be in a hospital, it could be in a sub-Saharan village in Africa, providing whatever the user is, really fast, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, or CT-like imaging wherever you are, running off a Honda generator. Wow. So now we're looking at taking this prototype, bringing it up to the state of the art, because it was developed now 10 years ago. Right. So we want to upgrade the computers. We want to tighten up the system so that it runs more smoothly. We actually can bring in more state-of-the-art flat screen, which are the technology that receives the radiation as it's being emitted across the device, as well as more state-of-the-art emitters, and bring that, and that will be the device that we're moving forward with. So we're out talking with, we've identified several different product development teams that can help us build that out. And they're really excited. All of them want to work with us. So we're talking with them to identify who are the right group. They all have very deep knowledge of the space and are super excited about bringing this new device to the marketplace with us.
Well, it's really interesting, too. I mean, you mentioned the device is portable. I remember a few years ago on this very program, I challenged representative of the company, well, bring it into the studio if it's portable. And they did. Yeah. They rolled it right in through the doors, and it was plugged into 110 power. It was amazing to see.
We would love to do that. And so maybe we'll make a plan in the coming months to do the same thing. To give you an idea, or your listeners an idea, to the state of the art today, the marketplace are called C-arms, and they have large battery packs underneath them. They weigh 300, 400, 500 pounds. So that's, while it can move on wheels, it's a lot of weight that's moving around. The Dominion doesn't rely on batteries at all. It just literally plugs into the wall. You don't need that. So 150 pounds is truly our target about how heavy the device will be, and you can move. So you can imagine it being in an ambulance. Yeah. You can imagine it being on the sidelines of a football game in a tent. It doesn't emit very much radiation, and so you could actually have a very quick read on somebody's ankle if they're injured on a football field. So we're, lots of different options, and so we're really excited about what
and plugging into a wall, as you mentioned, you're talking regular 110 power.
Literally. So a Honda generator, literally, you could have, start it up or press the button, and the Honda generator could be anywhere on the side, anywhere in the world.
Now, a lot of people have been following the company over the years, have been, very interested in the FDA approval process. Any progress there?
Yeah, we're really excited. We actually initiated actively moving forward with the regulatory process this week. So we are working with our group, the Experian Group, this partnership of a really tremendous group of professionals up in the Bay Area who specialize in medical device. What we're doing initially is making a detailed plan of what we need to do for the next few months, because part of it we've discussed is hazard analysis. That's the a major component of the 510K process is looking at the device, testing how it operates, how much radiation is emitted, documenting that, and completing all the filing of that. But there are a lot of other elements that have to be completed between now and when we actually compile the entire 510K. And Experian Group is working with us, but they've actually initiated their work this week. So very exciting.
You know, when you're dealing with a government agency like the FDA, people are unaware how detailed you have to be. You've really got to cross every T 3 times, dot every I 4 times. I mean, you can't leave any stone unturned.
Absolutely. You know, I actually have had the pleasure of working with the FDA for 30 years in different capacities, whether it was in biologics, in small molecule, and in devices, and I have a huge respect for the organization. They really try to work with you as partners, and frankly, over the years, they've gotten better at being partners in working with you, trying to give you better direction about what you need to do and what you need to accomplish. In part, it's very formulaic, especially in the devices. We have to do certain things. We have to supply certain documents in the right way. We know what we're doing. Experian knows really what to do. And so we're going to be doing that for the next few months and filing with the FDA something that is absolutely buttoned up and appropriate for the review.
What else is new?
So lastly, which we're also really excited about doing, is we're working with Halteris. We made a press release a few months ago. Halteris is a group of diagnostic and AI experts. They've been working with lots of groups, including the Gates Foundation, for years.
Wow.
What they're doing is helping us understand which of the basically infinite number of markets we should really focus on, 2 or 3 of them. So that will help us define what the ultimate device looks like, where the best opportunity is for us to launch, if you will, to get both where the market need is, also where the benefits of our product are best to match for it, where reimbursement is best, you know, all these different elements of commercialization. So they're working with us, and we hope in the next couple of months to be able to give some guidance in terms of where we're actually going.
Exciting times. Once again, IGNG is the stock symbol, Imaging 3 Incorporated is the name of the company. John, thanks so much.
Really appreciate it, Don. Thank you.
On this week's Money Wrap radio program, we're going to talk about a hypothetical phone call between North Korea and Iran. You don't want to miss that. To find a radio station near you, to listen online, go to the website moneywrap.com. Call us right now from anywhere in the world, toll free, 888-259-4449 for free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. It is free, toll free, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's our program this week. As always, we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for joining us.
Does this sound familiar? Turned down for a mortgage? Credit card interest over 20%? Didn't get the job you wanted? The problem is your credit score. Unsure what your credit score is? Call the Advocacy Network. 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl. He can help you regain your financial independence. Change your life today. 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl.